It's going over there. They painted and did again. But we need to move it over there because this is too much in the way. That floor is in the way. But over there, either side. So you have to be on this side. So, third inning, my sister sends me this message. Goes, "Are you really having fun?" And of course I say, "Oh yeah, I have to go." So, do you want me to maybe do this again sometime? I'm like, no. We've done that.
How long did you stay?
3.5 hours.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the May Town Meeting. And we are very pleased to be with you this morning to discuss the business and the important topics to Menno Haven and our community. But I'd like to kick off the meeting today appropriately for Menno Haven in prayer with our very own Brenda Doyle. So please welcome Brenda.
Hello, good morning, everyone. It's the month of May, and I think of gardening, so I just have a couple gardening quotes to share with you to start off. From Catherine Edelman, "He who owns a garden, however small it may be, and mine is, whose hands have planted it, flower or bush or tree, he who watches patiently the growth from nurtured, who thrills a newly opened bloom, is very close to God." And from Isaiah chapter 58, "The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land. He will strengthen your frame, and you will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail." And may that be for our Menno Haven community. We'll be like that well-watered spring, and I think we are. Let's begin our meeting in prayer. Lord, we thank you for the beauty that we have all around us in nature, here in our Menno Haven community with the people and even in one another. We can see your love and care for the earth, and help us to see your love and care for us and our community as well. As you care for the natural wonders of this earth, how much more do you care for us? So, Lord, may you nurture us in your tender care, our Menno Haven community, and help us to love and care for one another. Bless our time together this morning, we ask, as we learn and grow in your love and care for us. Amen. Thank you. And now I have, I think, you, Davis, are you first up? The auxiliary, okay. Suzette, thank you. I didn't look at my agenda, I should have. No, you're fine.
Brenda, thank you. Good morning. So good to see some bright, shiny, smiling faces on a rainy, cloudy day. So thank y'all so much for letting us be here and share some updates. We have quite a lot going on at the auxiliary, so maybe you need to buckle up and get ready. You're going to hear a lot of information, but we're excited to share. Thank you, Billy. By the way, those of you who don't know, Billy is our staff liaison, and as an auxiliary, we are so blessed to have her. So, amazing Billy for all she does for us. Thank you. One thing that I wanted to share is those of you who might have been over to the Life Center might have noticed we've done an update in the boutique. We're featuring some new vendors and have a new layout, and just processing through this year feedback opportunities where we're going to try and get some information from the people that shop there, and also try and feature like Artist of the Month and different activities just to maybe respond to some comments we were getting about that area. And we are very excited to invite everyone to an event called Sip, Shop, and Savor. And that's going to be May 18th in the Life Center, and that's from 5 to 7. So the evening we'll have some beverages that will be nice to enjoy for the evening. You can certainly shop. We're going to feature our Artist of the Month, who is Carolyn Baker. Carolyn Baker is a talented local artist, and she specializes in collectible fiber, dolls, Santa figures, and little felt critters. And one of the things she does is she takes children's books and creates characters to go with them, which is really nice. If you have younger grandchildren coming in for the summer or birthdays coming up, these are really nice gifts. So super cute. And then she's also very famous for her red-haired girl dolls. So she will be there that evening on hand to share about her process if you have questions or want to know more. She also does Santas, so it would be a good time if Christmas is something you enjoy to maybe put in a special request or something like that. And that evening, Brian is going to have a one-night-only special at the grill available for purchase that will go with our event. So I hope that we see a lot of you there from 5 to 7 on the 18th. And thank you again for your continued support as we continue to try and just begin that dialogue and continue that dialogue and update our gift shop areas. So another thing that we have coming up, which we are excited about, is our Come As You Were fundraising event. And this is a new one. The reason that we have started this event is because our ladies' tea is limited to the number of people that can attend because it is a sit-down dinner. So we wanted something that the men would feel comfortable coming to and that we could have up to 350, 400 people. So we need a lot of y'all to buy tickets and show up. But it's going to be a really fun evening. We're going to feature the Cruisers, which feature music from the 60s and 70s, so it'll be a live band. There will be beer, wine, and other beverages. And then we're going to have heavy hors d'oeuvres for the evening. And the idea is that you come as you were in the 60s and 70s and enjoy the music. If you want to dance, there'll be an area for that. We will host the event indoor or outdoor, rain or shine. We're prepared either way. And it will be lower level at the Life Center. So that is June 9th from 5:30 to 8:30. And tickets are $50. And again, this is one of our primary fundraisers, so not only do you get to enjoy a fun evening of music, food, fellowship, a nice silent auction, you also get to feel good because you make a difference for people here at Menno Haven. So we just encourage you to please consider that event. If you're in town, we'd love to have you, and we'd love to have a good crowd. It's kind of a casual dress up, but fun evening event. Any questions, you can reach out to me or Billy, and Billy did a great job. She reached out to Dawn. We have a new option. You can register and have it billed to your monthly account. So if that's something you're interested in, you just email or call Billy, let her know, and she'll make sure it comes out of your account. So we're trying to make it easy for everybody. And Hugh and I are purchasing tickets right after this. I want to be the first one to get tickets. So, all right. And then other opportunities that we have with that event, we have some new members. We hosted a member social, and the auxiliary had 15 new members after the social, so we were thrilled. There was a little bit of confusion, though. Was the event only for new members? Was it for old members? And good news that we've got 2 more coming this year. The event is for everybody. So we would love to have anybody that's a part of Menno Haven or would like to know more about the auxiliary. Our next event will be in July, and it will be on this community. Weather permitting, we were thinking about Jenny's porch. What a great place and a great way to honor what that was created for. If it's too hot or the weather's not good, we'll probably do Renaissance dining. But please come join us. We would love to have everyone come and just get to know some of our auxiliary members. If you're interested in joining, we again can get it right out of your account and bill it directly to you, and we would just love to have you join us for that event. Another thing that we have coming up is with this event, I'm sorry, I skipped one. The Come As You Were, we had some new members, and if you're interested in volunteering, say day of, just for a 2-hour slot, something like that, we'd love to have you. We have a few low-key volunteer avenues that are available for this event. You can reach out again to me or Billy, and we will gladly connect you. And if we have your email as an auxiliary member, we are going to send an email to all members that we have so that you would know what the opportunities are. If you prefer not to get emails from the auxiliary, please just send back, remove me from your email list, and we'll gladly do that, okay? We're going to start trying to collect that because the green team will love it. That saves paper if we don't have to mail everything. So we're going to try and start collecting our emails and communicating a little bit that way. And now we have a very special presentation. If you were at our annual dinner, you already know, but we wanted to present in front of the community. The auxiliary decided this past year to create and support. Ms. Doris, if you'd come up. The Layman Spirit of Menno Haven Scholarship. And we are so excited as a group. It is a $3,000 scholarship that the auxiliary will support every year. It will be open to team members that are committed to the mission of Menno Haven and the mission of the auxiliary. And it can be utilized for not only higher education, but for professional development. Sometimes there are people that would just love to have a certification. Menno Haven can't quite cover a $6,000 certification, but we would love as an auxiliary to come and support that and join with Menno Haven to help grow our staff, because we want to honor all that Ms. Doris has done. And for those of you, if you would, I think this is worth a round of applause. So. For those of you who don't know, Ms. Doris has been affiliated with Menno Haven for 47 years. So I want to share a little bit about Ms. Doris's life. Now, she knows about it. She didn't know about this at all at the dinner and was very gracious and let us show old pictures and everything. So we're doing it again. But a little bit about Ms. Doris. She has been the auxiliary treasurer for 17 years. So she has been an anchor in what has happened through the giving spirit of the auxiliary. And she graduated from Messiah Academy in 1953. In 1960 to 74, she did bookkeeping and mission work. Ms. Doris was actually in Africa for a few years and worked in financial support with some mission organizations. 5 years. So that's amazing. And she's quite the traveler. If you've never spoken with her about that, she has a lot of fun travel stories she can share with you. In 1976, she began working at Menno Haven, and I believe you started as the executive assistant, right, Ms. Doris? Yep. So she came in right up there at the high level helping out, and she was there for 30 years. She retired in 2006. So Ms. Doris was a constant when many people were coming in and out of Menno Haven, like a lot of the staff here, a lot of constant support. So definitely very supportive. Then she retired in 2006, but she wasn't done with Menno Haven. She came here as a resident in 2007, and we were glad to have her, and she joined the treasurer of the auxiliary in 2008 and became the treasurer, and she continues up until today. So that's a total of 47 years. And one of the things that really going to show some photos now. So this, I believe, is one of the Country Day. Yeah. Is that organizing for Country Day, which was a huge fundraiser the auxiliary did? Here is Ms. Doris with a past auxiliary board. And here you are with, who is that, Ms. Doris? Dave Hunsaker? Dave Rigsecker. So I'm sure that's the presentation of the money, which Ms. Doris always does for the auxiliary. Another presentation of the money, and I think that's Rod Mason, correct? Yep, so more recent. And then here's Ms. Doris with some other board members. You can see some other familiar faces along there that you might recognize. But one of the reasons we wanted to develop this award is because we have really seen Ms. Doris with a steadfast commitment. Y'all know I'm cry, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it up front. I'm probably going to cry. But a steadfast commitment to that day in and day out faithfulness to live the mission, to be committed, to always be in the gap, and to be faithful. And Ms. Doris, we so appreciate the way that you have done that, not only for Menno Haven, not only for the auxiliary, but for the kingdom of God. Because I know there are a lot of people you help move, take to appointments, and other things. So we have just been so blessed to have her with us, and we wanted to honor that. And thank you for letting us share that with you today. We are very excited. Our first recipient will be announced at next year's annual meeting for the auxiliary. And we're very excited to begin this program and to enhance not only the lives of residents through the training, but the staff, which Ms. Doris represents both. So, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Doris. Do you want to say anything? Okay. All right, Ms. Doris didn't want to say anything. So, but thank you. And now I get to turn it over to our CEO, Hugh Davis.
Thank you, Suzette, and thank you, Ms. Doris. That is a lot of days you have spent serving Menno Haven. And I think that is one of the special things about Menno Haven, that for my career, and I've said this many times, they're truly a group of very special foundational people that have allowed Menno Haven to make a wonderful impact on the kingdom of God. And Ms. Doris is certainly a huge part of that. All right, so I want to jump into a little bit of a CEO update here this morning. I would like to start with an introduction of Ryan Fritz, Menno Haven's new CFO. So I'm going to ask Ryan to come up. I put a few things about his bio up here, but I'm going to let him talk to you about all that.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ryan Fritz. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to join such a great team and community here. A little bit about me. I grew up here in Chambersburg with, other than a few years in the U.S. Army, I lived here all my life. I worked with WellSpan, or Summit Health, most of my career, and then we merged with WellSpan. A little bit of a stint with a for-profit behavioral health and psych unit. Definitely challenging there as far as just the patients we took care of and different things. I knew it really wasn't where I wanted to be, so that's why I was looking and I ended up here. And I'm extremely excited to be here. There's great residents here. I've got to meet some of you. If there's anything that I can ever do, please reach out. My door's always open, and there is a great team here. So just wanted to say good morning and thank you for the opportunity. Thanks.
So we're excited to have Ryan on board, and a few more just staffing announcements. It is certainly with some sadness that we announce that Chloe is leaving us, but for great reasons. She is working on her master's in health administration and public policy, I believe, at the University of Pittsburgh. And so we've had a wonderful opportunity to have her here while she completed her undergraduate degree, as well as was an intern for us. So her last day will be May 12th. So sir, if you see Chloe, make sure that you wish her well, and I know she's going to make a great impact on the profession. And Sophia, many of you know Sophia from the Life Center Grill. Sophia actually is going to take on the role of a resident support specialist. So we're really excited that we're able to grow that role from within. Sophia is currently out as she has just had her new baby. So we're really excited for her. So in the beauty of all of this, people growing and moving on, people stepping up, taking new roles, starting families, we'll have a little bit of a gap in coverage here. So the team does plan to continue to have tech bar appointments, but we need to do that on a scheduled need. So You can schedule an appointment if you need that tech support by calling the number or emailing resident.support@mennohaven.org, and they will be glad to assist you with that. We are not going to be able in the interim period to be able to do the mobile tech bar. All right, so I want to jump into just some of the strategic announcements, or strategic, where Menno Haven is strategically. And I wanted to start out with Project Branches. If you remember, that is the potential, was the potential affiliation with Menno Haven and Messiah Lifeways. Certainly, it's been a great process for, I think, both Menno Haven and Messiah Lifeways. And we still have a really good relationship with them, but I wanted to dig into it just a little bit. So I wanted to hit a few things and sort of lead us down a trail on some things. What was our why? Why did we think about this? Well, number one, the pace of change in the world is increasing rapidly. And certainly senior living as an organization, we're feeling that impact. I can say the term inflation at a 40-year high, right? I mean, those are, Ryan and I were just in the back of the room talking about food cost. That was, he's like, wow, your food costs really went up. And I think we're seeing all those impacts everywhere. So the world is changing. Fragmentation is leaving leaders feeling isolated and constantly pressured to innovate. The COVID-19 pandemic has only exacerbated the issues and the pressures that we feel. And we believe we have an opportunity to shape the future and enhance the benefits when organizations might get scale by trying to partner together. What were some compelling reasons, right? We want to be the author of our own story. We want to become the disruptor, not the disrupted, right? We want to think differently about how we operate and attack the future, not look up one day and go, oh, we've been disrupted. We certainly want to preserve our legacy. We believe there is some wisdom in increasing our geographic footprint. Certainly long-term sustainability is very important to us. Maintaining relevance in our marketplace is important. Becoming a leading voice in how services are being provided. We want to bend the future cost curve, right? That is one of the real issues facing all of us in senior housing today. We want to effectively manage the complexities of a multifaceted service model. And we want to be able to develop a platform for innovation. And I've talked a lot about that idea of many times these conversations are not so deeply about saving money as they are about leveraging intellectual capacity and what I call capital. Having the minds at the table to help us innovate and attack the problems for the future. So, one of the things we did early on as an organization was look at, if we were going to have some partnerships or look at affiliation, how would we measure who we would want to partner with, right? And it was interesting, even our language through this whole process, from a senior team level to even both boards of the two organizations, we immediately began taking on this almost dating analogies and marriage analogies. And I think that lends to the idea in the faith-based nonprofit space, right? We see the importance of a partner that is compatible and have deep compatibility with who we are as an organization. So alignment of mission and values, commitment to a partnership of equals, values of faith-based perspective, similar cultures, aligned views on governance, strong reputation, financially stable, quality orientation, complementary service lines. I think initially I did get some questions on, now why are you merging or thinking about merging with Messiah College? No, not Messiah College, Messiah Lifeways. So what did we learn about this? What are some of our outcomes and learning points? The merger or affiliation, let me, because that was one of the things that I've got a lot of questions. What's the difference in affiliation and merger? Well, the idea was you could create a company that you put certain assets in that serve both Menno Haven and Messiah. And so Menno Haven and Messiah keep their identity, but you save cost, you can have some higher intellectual capital in the new organization that the two affiliate with in a partnership. So just as a framework of what was discussed. But at its core, right, it didn't go anywhere based on this idea of how we saw governance as two organizations. And one of the main stumbling blocks was the church, unfortunately. And Menno Haven is a faith-based organization that relates to the church through Mennonite Health Services, which is a part of Mennonite Church USA. And it is a relationship where we get consulting, we get support, but there are no reserved powers from the church, meaning the church can't say, well, Menno Haven, we don't want you to merge with Messiah because they're brethren in Christ and we're Mennonite, so we won't support that. They don't have that voice necessarily in Menno Haven's governance. The Brethren in Christ Church does have that voice within the governance of Messiah. And so the two organizations could not really see how to work that through. From what would the role of the church and an affiliated organization be in Menno Haven. And so truly, the Menno Haven board never could get comfortable with what that relationship might look like for the future. So ultimately, lessons learned from this, I think it was a good experience. I know, it was definitely a learning experience for myself, I believe for our board. And I think it was still really good things happening even today between Menno Haven and Messiah and how we're supporting each other. And I think we all walked away with a strong relationship, and who knows what the future may hold. But key takeaways include, assessing ourselves for readiness at the board level, reviewing bylaws and disclosure statements first, right? There's this idea of due diligence. You start with a relationship, then you move to the due diligence. Well, there's probably some information out there we could have seen earlier because we spent 6 months on this endeavor. So there's probably some things we could, if we'd have just gotten into the bylaws and disclosure statements, we would have seen things that would have been a red flag for us earlier in the process, and maybe could have hit them and either had different conversation or said, well, thanks, but no thanks, and we wouldn't put y'all through all this faulty raw. What is this? And we may have just known before we got to trying to talk to you about it. But I think Menno Haven's thorough evaluation of it showed our ability to make sound strategic decisions, protect the core values, and preserve our own reputation, and I think Messiah feels the same way. So I hope you walk away from that knowing, right, that we have a great board that's working really hard to guide us well, and even as we have these conversations, they're committed to the core principles that we laid out and why we would ever try to do something like this. And I think sometimes, as much as it might take courage to partner, sometimes it takes as much courage to walk away. So for that, I was very proud of the work that our group has done. So will we continue? Yes. We believe our future involves developing a sustainable business model, but beyond where we are today. And, we run financial models, and Menno Haven's great today. We're in stable, good condition. But the world is rapidly changing. And, we want to be good 25 years from now. And some of the decisions we make today will predicate that health later. Thus, we will certainly evaluate new opportunities, including affiliations or new programs and services or joint ventures or other ways to expand our mission. Our partner criteria will continue to guide the evaluation and discernment process for management and the board. So I hope that's a little bit of a breakdown of where we are, what happened. I think a really nice session with the board and just processing what did we learn, what would we do different, and I think one of our board members said it best. We did what we were charged to do. We evaluated a process that could potentially be good for the organization, and as it didn't meet its criteria, we walked away. And that's good board work. All right, so that moves on to another topic, the CDS operations review. And I'm not sure how comprehensive it's going to be at this point, but I know I've talked about it a little bit. So CDS, Continuum Development Services. So continuing care retirement communities, a best practice for us is to every few years do two things. Do an actuarial review of our community, as well as do an operations assessment. Now, I think we are really good managers here at Menno Haven, but you know, at times you don't need to believe your own press, and you need to invite someone from the outside to come in and take a look at your operation and give you guidance. And so for us, looking at the idea of an affiliation, we felt now was a good time to do an operational assessment. So we invited CDS to come in and do that for us. And CDS is located in Signal Mountain, Tennessee. They offer a range of services, including operational assessments, and they provide financial, operational, data analysis services to senior living companies. That's all they do. They help clients evaluate their organizations and enhance their abilities to develop and create enduring value. Right, their sweet spot is when organizations miss their bond covenants. They're the group that gets hired to go in and represent the bondholders to say, all right, here's what they need to do to get themselves back and in a better condition. So that's the bulk of their work, but they also do work like they did for us to say, okay, well, here's the things you can do to continue to make sure that you operate effectively and efficiently. So I thought it was nice. They definitely had some praise from Menno Haven. They have reviewed over 200 senior living communities like us, and they said that, you know, we stood out to them in several areas. Several of our operating metrics, they said, were well beyond their benchmarks, that we have done a wonderful job investing capital expenditures into the community. Our annual turnover rate this past year was statistically better than their base. Even though we don't like it, it was still better than their benchmarks. And then they really called out our wellness program. And I think we heard that in this community about when we did our focus groups. Don't get rid of Robin. Keep Robin, right? So they felt like those were some things to highlight. Certainly they had some areas to talk about. They believe, you know, we need to get rid of nurse agency. And we were like, yes, we do. You know, that's one of the things that I think our whole industry is grappling with today. And we've seen some improvement. But to maintain census, we are still somewhat dependent on agency nursing staff. But that is certainly a good call out. Optimize our healthcare payer mix. Again, we've had this conversation in here before. You know, Medicaid only covers about half our cost of care in skilled nursing. Medicare certainly does well for us, and so they talk about, you know, how do you optimize that mix? How do you develop capabilities to take care of even sicker folks who are in the private insurance or Medicare realms, and lessen the impact of Medicaid. Again, those are things we know as an organization. They also believe, talked about enhancing customer service, marketing, and admissions, and some things we possibly could do there. They do believe, you know, and this is where, these are some things when we get to the IL side of things, improve our dining operating margins. They believe that we don't pass, end of the day, they call it subsidizing, but we don't pass on enough of our cost of operating dining to residents and the people that use it. They say that we give away too much free stuff. That's what that next line is. Ensure contract adherence and ancillary charging, so they recommend that we go back through and take a look at some of that, and then improve our overall IL business model, and there's some things they recommended we could do, looking at some actuarial studies. So they recommended a full actuarial study for this next year. So certainly giving us some things in there to think about, and so, you know, what will the next steps for this be? So I know when I said the word charging free stuff and subsidized dining, I heard a little bit of the air leave the room, okay? And I got the new CFO sitting back here in the back. certainly, we understand that a part of the Menno Havens brand is to be an affordable community. And certainly, we want to continue to find ways to be a good value to you. So we will be certainly thoughtful as we approach all of these recommendations. And I boiled down to one slide for you, 130 pages of report that we still are, as a senior leadership team, are trying to wrap our head around. But I know we've talked about it, and so I just wanted to just get a few things out there for you to just begin thinking about. And as we work through this next phase of strategic planning and positioning, we'll continue to have dialogue with you. All right, so next steps, this actually gets rolled into our strategic positioning exercise. And this is going to be the last thing I talk with you about today. So we're really excited. We've talked about Operation Bloom, that is a very overarching work that the senior team and the board worked on over the last year and a half or so. And now we are getting into some real nuts and bolts. And you may recall this more as what we would say campus master planning, which is the next phase in strategic planning for us in this round. But we actually are taking a little more, a different approach than just campus master planning. So we're calling it more strategic positioning, which will include campus master planning. So we sent out an RFP, a request for proposal, to 7 of what we believe are some of the best firms in the U.S. To help us. Cornerstone Senior Living, who I have them at the top just to call out that they were the group that helped with Project Genesis. Sawgrass Partners, ARI, Aging Resource Institute, this is the group that helped us with Bloom, Pointe, BSNA, Plant Moran, and Baker Tilly. And I'm not going to go through all these, but the 4 components in this strategic planning is, number 1, a market analysis, going back and looking at the market and looking at every single unit we have, and is it priced appropriately, and how does that stack against the market. Strategic positioning, and I think this is very important, in looking at the organization about how do we, because one of the questions I have, and I think will be very important, is how does Menno Haven, let's say we can't, we talk about affiliation, right? What if there just isn't the right partner out there, right? Then how do we continue to grow here and bloom here? And so I think looking at how we position ourselves, whether that's then growing into other service lines like home care or hospice or durable medical equipment, how would we do those things? And so I think looking at that strategically is going to be very important for us. Then we get to this idea of campus master site planning. I know in this community, that's what this group is excited about. And so certainly that is going to be a part of this exercise. And then finally, financial feasibility, right? It's whatever we decide to do, we got to have a path forward that it's financially feasible and it works within the scope of our strategic direction as an organization. And so deliverables, we hope to have a report that will help really guide the next 5 years, and a summary presentation for board, senior staff, and residents. So certainly the group that helps us with this, I certainly want to see them in this format, breaking this down for you and answering your questions about the process that we went through. And then one other piece for this group, the follow-up to the Chambers Point focus groups. So we talked about sending out a survey, but I think what we will do is once this group is chosen, and we will get them to help us execute that survey, design and execute that survey based on what we learned in the focus groups. So the process was basically, we sent them out, we got them back, we looked at them, we did an internal scoring, and now we have shortlisted it to 3 of the 7, and that's where we are currently. We weighted our selection. We did a 1 to 5 weighting with their overall abilities, their approach to strategic positioning, and their approach to financial feasibility with the highest weight. So we feel like currently, right, we need someone with the sophistication to really help us look at How do we match and move all the pieces of Menno Haven in this current environment to help us remain the best valuable possible for our consumers, as well as position us to be as successful as we can in the future, right? So we even begin to look at things like, I hear we need more memory care. Okay, well, how would that look? Maybe we need less skilled nursing. Okay, we want all private rooms here. Well, how would that work? What are we going to do with the manor, right? We want more apartments. So what if we got rid of rooms in that apartment? Well, how would that work, right? There's lots of questions from a financial feasibility side that's going to be very important as we look at this. So end of the day, it came down to plant Moran, sawgrass, and 1 Pointe was management's recommendation to the board. We had discussed possibly Cornerstone, just inviting them to what we call the bake-off, the group coming in, sitting with the board, being interviewed by the board and management. But we made the decision not to do that. So we are currently working on a bake-off with the top 3 respondents. We will follow the same weighted evaluation. Final decision's going to be based on fit for Menno Haven, and then we hope to soon announce a selected partner. Here's again our timeline. So proposal submissions were due in April. We've got the short list of finalists, so we're on track. We've got first interviews and presentations, but I'm excited to say, we're going to get those done in May, so that we hopefully in June will have the firm selected and can kick off the work. Now, we've given ourselves the grace to be done in the first quarter of the year, of next year, but I believe we will be done by the end of the year. So that's just huge hope for how that will go. All right. Whew, I got a lot in here today. So review of Menno Haven's first quarter. Ryan, this will be your job next town meeting. I will not have to do this again. Yesterday was his first day, so I didn't think it was fair to throw him up here to talk about financials. But I think the financial package is in here for you, for your review. But I'm going to walk you through a few things. I think today we sit with unrestricted cash and investments of $55.8 million. Our rolling 12-month debt service coverage is 1.88 against our covenant of 1.2. And our days cash on hand are stable at 335. And if you see, I don't know if it's notated that way in here. You see 355 days, I believe. But the reason that's a little bit different is, so every month, right, we pay our debt payment in December. But every month, right, we're taking cash aside, putting in what we call a sinking fund to hold to make that payment at the end of the year. So we as managers, we look at days cash on hand minus that money, right? Because in my mind, it's already spent. It is out the door. Its little wings are flying out. Although it's still in the bank drawing some interest for us. However, it is just sitting there waiting to go. So I like to see days cash on hand without that number in it and present it that way. So just some highlights from the first quarter. Census revenues were down. Skilled nursing revenues were down. In part, coronavirus, lack of staffing. We had lots of census challenges in skilled nursing in the first quarter. However, IL has been strong, as well as PC has been strong. And so actually, believe it or not, year-to-date revenues through March were favorable compared to budget and favorable to last year, even with the census struggles in skilled nursing. However, nursing revenue was below budget due to census and payer mix. So strong IL and PC revenue helped offset some of the impact from nursing. So there was a favorable revenue difference as well from entrance fee amortization. That's on the IL side. But operating expenses were unfavorable to budget and the prior year. Big part of that has still been rising inflation cost and nursing agency labor. That is very expensive labor. So even though PC and IL did better, and skilled nursing census was low and revenues were above budget, the expenses of even maintaining skilled nursing at those low levels still ate away at our budgeted operating contribution. So So labor cost, favorable. However, the agency shows up in non-labor operating expenses, and that was really unfavorable. So even when you look at labor, you might see it as favorable. It's really not, ultimately, when that actually gets adjusted back in. So that is the story. Certainly April is off. I think we're going to see a good bit of rebound in April. Skilled nursing census improved. And for the first time in 3 years, we actually hit our budgeted census in all 3 skilled nursing facilities. So that was a seminal moment to see that happen in April. Now, 1 month is as I have learned that CFOs say, and we'll see how Ryan feels about this, but 1 month doth not a trend make. So we'll see at the end of the second quarter where we are. So skilled nursing, you can see we were below census, personal care above, IL right on. Home and community-based census outperformed their hours, so that we're seeing some rebound there as well, which is very positive. Team metrics, we are certainly much better than we were last year on turnover. And one of the things we're tracking this year is retention. And through the first quarter, I'm pleased to say we have an average of a 92% retention rate. So some positives there that we've not seen over the past 2 years. All right, customer satisfaction. Our consolidated satisfaction to the question, would you recommend, what is your satisfaction with Menno Haven's? What is your overall satisfaction with Menno Haven? To the question of 92% of respondents across all service lines on average have answered either very or extremely positive. So I think that's good. We have seen a few areas that's not quite as good in the first quarter as we ended the year last year, but I think still pretty positive, but certainly some work for us to do. So that is my update, and I'll certainly come back and we can answer questions, but I'll hand it off to Chuck Meltson.
Hugh, thank you. Excellent, excellent. And Suzette, as always. But at least I followed him, not you this time. It's always hard to follow you. But good morning, and I'd like to congratulate Doris again. I mean, what she's accomplished here. You don't really realize it till you lived it. When I started in banking at 75, I was assigned to Menno Haven. The following 30 years, I learned one thing. When she was the executive assistant, you didn't even get in the door unless you went through her. I'm telling you, she controlled, and she was outstanding. And I'd gone on the board in early 2000 as a first on Mennonite. I was scared to death. But she helped me, told me what to do, and she did tell me one time, don't say anything unless you know what you're talking about. Which was difficult for me, let me tell you. But she was right, and I listened to her. But you know, looking at those pictures in 40 years, you haven't aged a bit. You're still as pretty as ever, okay? I used to butter you up a lot, still do. Okay, I've just got a few things to cover. Not that's for sure. Let's see here. I always go the wrong way. I want to at least bring you up to date on all our projects. I've talked about many of these over time, but these things take a while to do. The Chambers Pointe Trail back in the land that we bought over the railroad tracks from Wilson, it's unbelievable. And Corey, our director of grounds, he is the shining star to me. He went in there. I had no idea how they were going to do it. I mean, it was like a jungle. But he got his people back there, and it is amazing what they have done. And right there, they planted 40 cherry trees. They're about 4 feet high. In a few years, it's going to be beautiful in there. And we've ordered We have 15 benches being made, will be put at different areas so you can walk it and rest too. So, and Bruce Longenecker's making about 15 signs. All the trails are named, and Mike Kavanaugh is drawing a map out, and he's named the trails. So, and I think they're putting a little parking lot back there. Yeah, they're working on that so you can drive back there. So soon, and this is the kind of thing you can use. Well, you can use this in the winter too, but it's really nice in the summertime. The ash garden here is basically almost done. And Will Hockersmith is holding a celebration of life on the 13th for his wife, Mary, who had passed away last year. This was her idea, and hers will be the first ashes laid there. And that's special. And so, and the greenhouse looks spectacular. And Corey and Brian went over there and took a whole crew, worked all day there, because Will is in the rehab. He broke his hip, so he can't do much there. And they really came through. The electric vehicle that all of you gave to, we raised the money. It's a nightmare. I talked to the dealer yesterday. They called me last month and said, well, GM called and said they can put it on the line, but they're only putting them on with certain options, additional. And it'll cost you $4,000 more. I said, no way, we don't want them. One of them was speed control. Now, what do we need speed control? It's only going to drive on the community here. So I talked to them yesterday. They're going to try to get one from a dealer, and this is going to the community nurses. The health care center, trams, we raised enough funds, about $50,000, thanks to the auxiliary. We ordered those, and they should be in about 2 to 3 weeks. They are wheelchair trams. And the biggest thing was finding, it's like a domino effect. Now we have to find a place to store these. At Brookview, you're going to use the barn. Over here, we're using the shed beside the boathouse, and we're putting a big garage door on it, so we'll be putting it in there for the winter and things like that. But you'll see that riding around the campus here very soon. The Chambers Point gazebo, that we've ordered 24 chairs. I think they're up there now. We're getting blinds made to keep the sun out. I tell you, I get these mixed up. You got pergola, you got gazebo, you got pavilion. But that's the one up at the north is the gazebo. And the Brookview Pavilion furniture and fire pit we've ordered. It'll seat 14, and I see it's finally in. It's a real problem getting things now. It's taken 3 months, but it's on the dock at North Gate. It will be put down at the lake at Brookview. Everyone's invited. It'll be under the pavilion. We'll push the tables back. And there'll be a fire pit there and nice, comfortable seating, because Suzette picked it out and she wanted cushions. So we have cushions on it. So, and the Renaissance media room here, the dining room in the Renaissance, we have a resident here donated a sizable amounts for new mics, and it won't, if you've been there and used those mics, they stop working, they start working. Be a whole new video system. We'll be able to show movies in there, and a sound system, and the equipment's been ordered. We're waiting for a couple pieces, and that will be put in. And there's a lot of other things, but I'll keep you updated as time goes on. If I could, oh shoot, excuse me, but okay. What other possibilities for amenities? I mean, when you first came, Chuck, one of your jobs is to come up with as many amenities as you can. Well, I've been doing my best, and thanks to all of your help. Anything, I know I was at dinner with some residents Saturday night, and they said over here they'd like a shed for golf carts, because they want to get one, and 3 or 4 other residents need somewhere to keep them. So I can't guarantee it, but I've been thinking about it ever since you told me. So, and they're here, so I'm working on that. I know we've talked a lot about pickleball. We aren't working on it, but we could. if the residents would get a group together. There's so much that we could do. What else do you want to see on both campuses? We know you want to see a food venue here, and I'll work on it, but I'll be a small part of that. That'll come under the master plan. But you need to believe and know that anything you say, we work on. And if we can do it, we will. So just give me a call. Come over and see me. Anything you're thinking about. I don't want 100 people at my door tomorrow, but you're welcome to come, and we'll work on it. Branch Creek Place, I think all of you are aware of that. That's in Shippensburg, and this is really Tiffany's baby. I have little to do with it, but some money came in, so I had something to do with it then. We have about 200 members down there. It's a seniors place, and it get about 60 to 70 every day for 5 days during the week, and they can get a meal, they play games, and big things, bingo. And don't take, Roger and I were down there calling numbers one time. One thing we learned is don't take their cards. They have them set out in the box. I tried to pick one up. She said, don't you dare touch that, boy. That's my card. I said, okay. And on Wednesday night, they have bingo where you can win money. And Tiffany goes down there every Wednesday, and you're all invited. But we did have a resident or a member there who didn't have any family, and he said, this is the only place I have to come. And they even went and helped him take care of his yard on their own time, clean his house. Well, he passed away recently, and he left them $70,000 plus an additional $25,000 coming in, which we'll use. And we're going to add that as an option for you to give to your annual gifts. And I mean, you talk about doing something good. Really makes a difference. Okay. I'm not going to give everybody a diamond, but I wish I could. But next year is our 60th anniversary. I don't know if any of you were around here. I was when we had our 50th anniversary. And it's a great thing to celebrate our heritage and look to the future. 60 years, I'm told, is diamond. And we have a group of some residents, staff, board members putting together just to brainstorm on what can we do. This is a year-long thing. We want to celebrate this and, so to speak, get as much bang for the buck. And because it's great to bring in new residents, it's great to enhance things for the present residents, and a great way for development to raise dollars. And also, I think it'll be a great way to think about your legacy in doing an estate a gift, a planned gift. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that. It's a year-long thing. Okay, one thing you're going to hear about forever is benevolence. You would not believe the number of residents here. One major reason coming is benevolence. And even though they probably have more than enough funds, they're never going to run out of them. It's the comfort knowing we have never put anyone out in our almost 60-year history because of their finances. We've always taken care of everybody, and we spend about approximately $1.2 million. It depends on how you calculate it each year. And in 22, about half of that was estate plan gifts. That's when the big dollars come in. We raised about $762. It was about the highest we've ever done in our history. The rest of the funds are supplemented from operation. This year, we're already at $324. Our goal over the next 5 years is to raise enough annually or have enough. We have a trust fund in there. I think Ryan, do you know how much? No, you don't. But 5 or 6 million. But to generate enough from the earnings each year to pay our obligation, and we don't have to take that out of operation. So anyway, that's about it today. I could talk on forever, but I remembered I have to tell this. I was thinking about this. We had a dinner Saturday night and only said a few words because I was going up there. There's a resident that lives here. I worked with her at the bank for about 30 years, and we were having a dedication. This was about 12 years ago. And at the Rose Garden over here, so she was riding over in her little cart. She came over and she saw me, and she was always teasing me. And she knew when I give speeches at the bank, I talk a lot. She says, "Chuck, are you speaking?" I said, "No, I'm just introducing someone." She said, "Thank God, or I'd have slit my throat." I said, "Okay, that's it today." And here comes the great Tiffany.
Let me cut this off for you. All right. Well, hello, everyone. It's great to see you all. I do have a variety of slides to get through, so let's start cracking. Do any of your windows look like this? Thank goodness. But even if they did, we're going to wash them for you. So window washing is starting. I believe it is starting on this campus this week. Has anybody in the room got their windows washed yet? Yay! So that is fabulous. Of course, if you are not satisfied with how the windows were washed, please call Sandy right away. I believe last year, folks had some concerns about how well the windows were washed, and I found out about it way after the fact. So if they wash your windows and you're not pleased, please reach out to Sandy Myers at maintenance so we can get them back around before they leave and it's months pass by. Okay, so you all should have received something in your mailboxes letting you know that they're coming. And I believe Sandy or someone from Maintenance or Grounds will be reaching out when they get closer to your designated areas. I did talk a little bit in councils and some coffee and conversations that I was going to be presenting at town hall meeting, the room reservations and event spaces policy. I lied. I don't quite have it under control yet. I think Chuck mentioned that when you open something, the domino effect just keeps going and going. And every time I start something new or check into a different area, it opens up something else that we didn't think about. So one thing that I didn't think about when we were working on these policies was the swimming pools. And the pavilions. We were so focused on the rooms within our buildings that some areas got skipped. So we're just not quite ready to throw that out yet. The one thing that we do know that this policy will entail is who has access to making reservations and who has access to say yes or no, because we've had places that were double booked. We have places that were booked and should not have been due to other events. So it just gets messy when we have too many hands in the pot. So just stay tuned for that. Know that we will roll that policy out and inform everyone, but I just don't have it under control yet. I do want to mentally prepare everyone, though, that coming out with that policy is that we will begin to charge for specific areas for events that you want to exclusively have it for your own, right? For private parties and things of that nature. So stay tuned for those specifics. I just don't have it in the bag yet, but I did tell you I would bring it to Town Hall. I lied. All right. I wanted to talk a little bit. Look at this great picture. I literally warned Paula when she walked in the door, heads up, I'm putting your face up on the screen and you can't do anything about it. You know, I would hope by now that you know that we want to be very transparent. And so I want to talk a little bit about the board representative as a resident here at Menno Haven. So the councils have been out and talking and putting in their minutes that Paula Warner's term on the board was expiring. And we did not have any applications come in. So as the corporate council or the council presidents met at the corporate level with the senior leadership team, it was brought back up that we would ask Paula to reinstate her term for another 4 years. And so, which is wonderful, and the board was very pleased of her willingness to do that because of the commitment and the investment of time and resources that she has previously given over the past 4 years. Also, as Hugh mentioned about our strategic planning, having her continue to be on the board for some consistency as we work towards these future plans will be very beneficial. So I want to be clear and upfront, though, that there had been some communication that went out recently, and this actually happened at the Brookview community, where this was already a done deal. Paula went before the corporate council, she went before the board, had that all reinstated, and then we received some applications. But so it did bring to light in the future that I will assist the councils to make sure that we're putting date deadlines and cutoffs out there, because I'm not sure we were quite clear on that. Again, not maliciously, I think with the turnover of the council presidents and some changing of hands, and this is actually my first time going through this process, will be a little bit clearer next time around. So I am super excited that Paula has agreed to continue that next 4-year term, and she has been just a tremendous asset to the board of directors. And Paula, publicly, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. I also want to let you know that the board of directors has given approval for Scotland Road development, a little project that we're going to be doing here in 2023. So nobody take a picture of this, because these houses are not, this is just a fake potential. But so this is, we are going to be developing the land and the lots between the main entrance drive at the Brookview community and Northgate Commons Road. So if you've been out and about on Scotland Avenue, heading towards the entrance to Northfield Boulevard or Northgate Commons, you may have seen that we've already demolished one of the homes within that area. We are going to continue to develop these one by one. We're not going to just bulldoze the whole thing, and we're gonna build them one by one. There will be 5 standalone villas out along Scotland Avenue. So stay tuned for that. We're in the floor plan design phase. What will fit on those lots? How will it look? How will they look side by side? Things of that nature. But if you drive over and you see things are happening, that's what's happening. All right, so tell your friends we have some villas available. All right. Whoops, wrong way. Signs. I'm going to have a theme here. Yes, this is me pulling my hair out about our signs, so I want to keep you in the loop. We had a bit of a permitting issue, and that permitting issue has finally been resolved. And so we get that all done. We reach out to the sign company, and I was all excited. I mean, I felt like I won the gold medal in the Olympics. I completed the hurdles and didn't break my neck. We got the permit. I was so ecstatic, and I thought, here we go. This is going to happen. Sign company has it in their hand. Okay, Tiffany, we're going to be in production. Here we go. Well, now in my mind, signs should be here next week, right? 16 weeks. So my bubble was deflated. I almost cried, but they are in production, and I made them so solemnly swear, and I want to see pictures that the assembly lines are working. So we are looking probably the end of summer that the signs will be here, and I will keep you all updated. But just as a reminder, the majority of the signs are coming to the Brookview community. Here in 2023, what will be coming here to Chambers Point will be signs for the memory homes, and sign above the door at the Chambers Point Healthcare Center, so people can easily find to get into those areas. And then the wayfinding signs that will be at intersections and things of that nature for here at Chambers Point will come in 2024. Again, just trying to be a good steward. It is extremely expensive. So we don't have such a big hit all at once. We kind of trying to divvy them up a little bit. I'm going to stay on signs for a little bit. I know y'all read it, didn't you? So The week at a glance. So the week at a glance is something the leisure coordinators have been working on. And again, a way to attempt to save on printing and paper as well as time for getting rid of those very hard to read monthly calendars and switching to the week at a glance. I am looking for your feedback. The week at a glance are posted strategically at the Renaissance, at Northgate, outside the Life Center. I just want to make sure that those are being used, because if they are not, we are then going to go back and pull them back off of the leisure coordinators to-do list so they have more time to be out and about on events and less time trapped behind their computer and printer. So I am looking for some feedback on those, and I would appreciate you letting me know. Exciting, exciting news. How many of you have heard of Habitat for Humanity? Everybody. How many of you seen the video of myself and Mark's story? All right. So here's the deal. Coming in 2024, I am excited to announce that Menno Haven will be the sole sponsor of a Habitat for Humanity house. That means the entire Menno Haven community will build it from brick up. We will be sponsoring it, and we have already pushed this out to our team members because nothing would make me happier. And at the end of that build is that we are able to provide those keys to a Menno Haven team member. Would that not be beautiful? So we are talking this up. Be prepared. We want to have you all involved. It is going to be a year full. It won't be a whole year full because it doesn't take that long to build the house. But we will be gearing up a variety of teams. I would love to have teams that include residents, working side by side our team members. We also see this as an opportunity to connect our team together. So we know we don't have the luxury of going over to the rehab and saying, okay, all the CNAs that are working today get to go work at the Habitat house, right? Because then there's no CNAs to work at the rehab. But the idea of having a CNA from the rehab, a CNA from the Brookview Healthcare Center, a CNA from the Chambers Point Healthcare Center, get to know each other. They do not have the luxury of working together every day. And having them, again, connect and build team. I'm just really, really excited to see how that all comes out. So stay tuned for more details. We'll be doing some fundraisers for this Habitat house. I haven't heard yet. I've been waiting to hear. They were trying to secure a lot in Green Village, which is close to us here. I'm not sure if that happened or not, but Habitat is feverishly working on a piece of land that this home can go on. So stay tuned. I'll keep you updated for that, and we will be talking about that throughout the year. So I felt like this was appropriate because it feels like winter today. And you never know when something might happen, right? So the PERS devices, which is your personal emergency response device, I won't make you raise your hands to show me who all has theirs with them. But we did do the battery. Thank you, overachievers, bravo, bravo. I see you. You wanted to say, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Thank you. So I have been informed that we have completed 91% of the battery replacements. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the rest of those, we are tracking those folks down. Communicated with Steve here that we will be doing this again every April. Right? So then we'll be catching folks that have just come in, but then it's kind of a way that, okay, April is, battery exchange time. And so I just really appreciate you all keeping that at the forefront and coming and participating in those days. And remember, what color is your pendant flashing if it needs its battery replaced? Yellow, right? Yellow means caution. Reach out to the tech bar, we'll get you a battery. All right. Can anybody tell me what that says way up there in the corner? Fine print. Okay. Remember that. So I have received lots of calls and lots of conversations about our electric bills. For those who reside here at Chambers Point, that you are in the borough, but for those that reside at the Brookview community, some of us are in the borough and some of us are in Green Township. And Green Township and those that live in that municipality have West Penn Power. How many of you would like to save money on your electric bill? Of course, right? That's obvious. So when that phone call comes, of course you're going to say, yes, of course, I want to save money. But I want to encourage you to read the fine print. All right. So you'll have lots of different providers that will say to you, hey, we can save you money, and that the savings will be significant right up front, but then eventually it catches up, right? And they let you go for a while. Right? So you're paying on your electric bill. It's looking good. It's looking good. It's looking good. You're getting used to it. No big deal. And then whammo, they hit you with a big one. All right. And then it goes a couple more months and it continues to be big. So what we're recommending is that you stay with West Penn Power as your sole provider. So as you're getting inundated with phone calls, as you're getting inundated with those flyers in the mail, right? As that person stalks you at BJ's, right? They're out there, stalks you at Walmart. They're friendly. I get it. I tried to hire the dude at BJ's the other week. I mean, he was just so nice, and I felt my heart went out to him because I thought, gosh, this is a horrible job. Rejection, time after time, and then people just walking by ignoring him. It felt horrible. So I had made him walk down the aisle with me to get ketchup. And I was like, this has to be a really tough job, and I'm showing empathy, and I'm like, if you're ever really looking for something different and something more, rewarding, call me. So we'll see. So I'm just encouraging you, it's your choice as you receive that information to switch providers. There is nothing Menno Haven can do. We do not have the power, no pun intended, to call West Penn Power and to call these electrical providers and say, stop calling our folks, that type of thing. So I just want to put it out there where we stand. All right. Paving. I feel like I need to stretch for this one. So paving has begun. The equipment arrived today. Things, of course, what is going to impact the paving schedule? Rain. What have we been having a lot of? Rain. So they were to start yesterday, but they're starting today. So each week, and Janelle, remind me, did we send this to the Chambers Point folks as well? Okay, good. That was a test. So we will be sending it out weekly because dependent on weather, it will impact the schedules. So each week you'll get an update. We're going to add and keep the map here so you can see what we're talking about. I'm a visual person, so I need pictures. And so this is where we're starting at the back of Village Square today. At the end of the week, so this will be important to know. Now this is a little bit of a trickery here. So Village Parkway North is the main entrance to Brookview. It will not be touched this week. The area that's being touched is the Terrace Drive section. So at the end of the week, if you think I've got to hurry up and get over to the Life Center to get to wellness class at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., and you come in the main entrance, you're going to have to jog around. All right, to get to the Life Center because this middle section will be closed. All right, and the idea is that you'll need to be off of it for several days. They'll take the cones away. You can drive over it, but please obey all signs. The following week, again, this is over at the Brookview community. It'll impact, I'm putting here parking and transportation concerns because I need these folks that live in these cottages are not real close to the Life Center and are gonna have to be really strategic about where they park. And I need them to think about their doctor's appointments and if they called transportation for a ride because where's the bus gonna pick them up? So we have to work through some of those logistics. So what has happened here? Can anybody see? They drove into the wet cement. So Chambers Point, I'm talking to you. we are going to be pouring concrete and cement at the back of the Manor and the Renaissance building. So there will be cones and things that you won't be allowed back there. They're going to put in a French drain and things of that nature. And because of the delivery trucks, and how many of you have actually walked or drove that driveway back behind the Renaissance, right? It goes like this. Well, it goes like this because of the amount of heavy trucks, right? The dumpster guy comes, the food trucks come, lots of trucks come. So we are going to be digging out a lot of the asphalt. Asphalt is the word I could not remember yesterday. And I couldn't spell macadam. It didn't look right. I couldn't remember asphalt. It was driving me nuts. So we're pulling that asphalt out and putting in concrete. So just know that that area back there will be blocked off. And don't make me put your picture up at Town Hall next time, all right? So French drain, dock concrete replacement area, paving of the driveway and the parking lot. This will also impact the wood shop at some point as well. But again, on a weekly basis, I'll be sending that out because this is a little bit more of timing depending on how that all goes. So I don't want to give specific dates other than it's going to start the week of the 8th. This is another section over at Brookview, week of the 15th. Northgate Commons Road, this is going to be at the end of the month, the 22nd through the 29th. That will be a hot mess day. So it's going to impact deliveries. Yeah, this is Paula and Karen's house right here at 780. I expect to see you on your back patio supervising all week. And then easy access to the back of Northgate. So we will have, some jog around that we'll have to do while this paving occurs. Now I'm pretty sure, they didn't tell me yet because it's at the end of the month, but I'm pretty sure they'll do the section from Scotland, down to Northfield Drive. So you'll be able to access and loop around, but then you won't be able to do the back portion. So just stay tuned for that and watch your weekly updates. And then this is the other big boss. This is the Village Parkway that runs off, the next street back. And it will be happening May 22nd through the 29th as well, weather depending. Okay. And then guess what? Hello, June. We're going to repeat the process all over again. I know. So the first process here in May, everything gets ripped up, it gets milled, the base coat goes down, we can drive on it, everything's fine, we think it's wonderful. Why do they have to come back and do it? Because this should be enough? Nope. They come back and put the top coat on, and we'll repeat this whole process again in June. All right? And then after that, I'll be screaming because everybody will be driving too fast on our beautiful new race track. All right. Mobile mammogram, walk-ins are still available at the Chambers Point tomorrow from 10 to 5. We'll be out in the Renaissance parking lot. So if you just missed it and think, I really wanted to sign up for my mammogram, you can still walk in tomorrow. They'll be out, and you'll see it. It's a big RV. It'll be out in the front parking lot. I think the area is already coned off for the big RV to sit out there. So if you didn't get signed up, it's okay. 10 to 5 tomorrow, they will take walk-ins. Oh my goodness, that's done. I thought I had a lot more. Couple other things just on my No Haven Today show this week. Sorry, Tori. No Haven Today show this week. Menno Haven Has Talent. How many of you attended last year's standing room only Menno Haven Has Talent? All right. We only have 3 acts signed up. So I really need you to dig deep and come up and get signed up because I'm not sure we will have it if we only have 3 people sign up. So I'm going to be out there pounding the drum to get you to sign up for the Menno Haven Has Talent. I believe that's in June, July the 10th. Thank you. Last thing on my notes, and then I'll sit down and be quiet. I just want to really thank everyone for their grace as we have posted the closing of the grill at the Life Center for a variety of dates. I know the culinary team put out a piece of paper, and when that piece of paper came out, it had all these dates listed, and it looked like a tremendous amount. I keep touching that, sorry. For the most part, those dates are just the Mondays that were already closed, but we have added an additional day on Tuesdays, especially after we have the large holiday meals. So I don't know if any of you ever participated in the Mother's Day buffet or the Father's Day buffet. Mother's Day is one of our biggest buffet meals ever here at Menno Haven. So the team really sacrifices. They have to prep the days before. And we know that retention rate that we showed off here a little bit ago, culinary is an area that we really focus on. And we do want our team members to have an additional day off. Okay, so that they have the opportunity to have 2 days off to sort of recover from those huge events. So I know when that came out, I've been hearing it. I've been hearing you in my ear, that, you're closing the grill too much. We are closing it for those specific, after those specific events, so our teams can have an additional day off. So I just really appreciate that. If you're really upset about it, call me and we'll talk it through. I just ask that you don't pound on the staff about it. And I will be gladly listen here. All right. And with that, Ms. Torrey, we'll have you come up.
Thank you. Good morning. So I only have a few slides to go through to provide some updates here. So looking at our turnover rate ending the first quarter, first year turnover, we ended at 47.6% and overall at 30.5%. But when we compare that to where we were at this point last year in 2022, our overall turnover was 119%. So we have significantly decreased our overall turnover, which is a huge success. And then same for overall turnover overall turnover was 47% last year. First year turnover was 119%. So either way, huge success. We're standing at a better place this year than last year. We continue to see that CNAs are the highest turnover position. So far to date, we've had a total of 11 termed within 2023 for various reasons. And we do have that followed by resident assistants with 6 and LPNs with a total of 6 as well. Hugh mentioned earlier the retention rate that we just started tracking this year in 2023. We're sitting at 92% for the entire organization. So 92% was measured within the first quarter, and the plan is to continue to measure each quarter and then for the entire year. And the retention is measuring the number of team members that are employed from the start of the measurement period to the end, okay? So that does not include any new hires within that period. Just a brief update in benefits and compensation. So back in February, I had mentioned that we had an internal equity audit happening by L.R. Weber that was completed. I'm happy to say that the report found that we have no inequity within our rates. The report found that we do follow our wage policy and practices appropriately. The results supported that we actually use our wage scale accurately as well too. So it did show that those team members at a higher rate within their positions is because they are coming in with more experience. So older team members tend to have more experience in their field and they're making more than their coworkers. From the benefits standpoint, we are continuing focus on health and wellness. As Tiffany said, we have the mobile mammogram today and tomorrow. And again, tomorrow there are availability for walk-ins, so please come on over if you feel the need to. And then we also actually have Cumberland Valley Breast Cancer Awareness organization coming next Monday, May 8th at 3:30, and I understand that is open to residents and team members also. That will be at the Life Center. Additionally, we're looking at mental health support to offer team members in the coming year as well. From education and engagement, we have partnered with the Franklin County Career and Technology Center to offer a CNA program for our team members, and looking at this opportunity to also use it as a recruitment tool. We have the Leadership Academy that is being taught by Dame Leadership. We have 60+ team members identified in a leadership role that have attended 2 sessions so far, so it's monthly. And we have a few more months to go. Our last session will be in November. We'll have a graduation in December. And really, this is to provide leadership topics and education to really support and develop our leaders within the organization. So some of those topics include essentials of trust, authentic leadership, emotional intelligence, and accountability. Other than that, we have additional dementia training happening. It has been identified for all team members to ensure the best care is given to residents and to provide that great resource and tools for those team members regardless of position. We have some upcoming events of appreciation as well. We have National Nursing Home Week later in May, and then the annual picnic in June. I know we had talked about the Sprout Awards happening in March, and I have a few pictures to share. So we have some groups of our team members, and the stage picture was one of the winning groups, I believe, of either integrity or service. So we had about 240 team members attend, and it ended up being standing room as well. So that was a great event, I think, overall, and we will definitely continue that in the years to come. Lastly, I have recruitment. So we have a focus on metrics this year. So we are starting to look at vacancy percentage, so the number of open positions that we have. We ended April with 11%. That does not include PRN or as needed positions, so only full-time and part-time. Some recruitment efforts that we have in place right now, we're continuing monthly visits to the PA Career Link. We visit the local high schools. We continue sponsored ads through Indeed, which means we're putting some money behind it for better placement against competitors. We sponsor local events such as the Chambersburg Food Truck Fest. We'll have billboards going around in Chambersburg in summer 2023. And we have a mass mailing to all RNs, LPNs, and CNAs within a 25-mile radius in Chambersburg in May. Other than that, we continue to see that team member referrals are the #1 source for applicants. That is all I have. Roger? I feel like I keep banging that.
Thank you, Tori. So, you know, you never want to be the last presenter on the last day of a conference. You know, everybody's ready for lunch, so I won't be offended if you start heading for the aisles, but I promise to be as brief as possible. So, I always like to give the 5-star updates for our skilled nursing facilities. As you can see across the board, we do have 4 stars overall for each of our communities. They all have a 3-star survey rating, 4-star staffing for the Brookview Healthcare Center and the Rehab Center, which is where we're budgeted. We don't budget for 5 stars, so we can expect these to be you know, in the 4-star range. Chambers Pointe Healthcare Center has a 3-star rating, as they've been a little slower to rebound from the staffing challenges that we've had than the others, but they are getting there. And of course, we are always proud to maintain 5-star quality ratings on all of our skilled nursing facilities. I would also point out that both Brookview Healthcare Center and Chambers Pointe Healthcare Center went through their annual surveys in the last week. We are still waiting for the official results, but by all accounts, things that they identified were relatively minor, a lot of documentation type of things, nothing really related to quality of care or anything like that. There'll be further reporting out of those once we receive those final reports. The obligatory COVID-19 update. you know, I don't know, we're gonna have to think of something else for me to talk about at future meetings, because we're putting a fork in the pandemic. The public, yes. That's nice. I never get these applause. That's great. You won't have to listen to this much longer, but just to give you an overall update, you know, the public health emergency is set to expire on May 11th. This is the community level, which is low, as it is through most of the United States right now. The CDC is going to stop providing this after May 11th, so this may be the last picture that you see of this community spread. Likewise, we've never seen this since they started rolling this out. But that blue, that is low community transmission. That's the lowest it can get. And that is amazing. We never thought we would see that again. But this is, again, probably the last time we see this, so we're going to have to determine some other metrics for knowing when we need to mask back up. But because we're in low, masking is optional in all of our healthcare settings. So if you've been to the Manor, Village Square, the healthcare centers, you know, you're not required to mask there anymore, except when there is an outbreak. And you know, a lot of the things are going to continue. We will be continuing to monitor for that. If we have cases, we will, you know, respond appropriately. So we're not really out of it, but we're going to stop reporting on it for the most part. And then this is 3 years of our COVID data, all combined. You can see over here was our first outbreak with the Alpha. And you can see this is where the majority of the deaths occurred that we experienced at Menno Haven, was in that November and December timeframe. Vaccinations came in here, but you know, we still certainly had the huge Delta surge, but again, it was not as deadly as it was. And then you see the Omicron, it's not going away, but it is pretty steady. And in May, we wouldn't have had a spike like that, except we did have one outbreak at the Brookview Healthcare Center that impacted about 12 residents and 6 or 7 team members. Very mild symptoms. Some folks didn't have any symptoms at all, but you know, we're still surveilling it, and we will continue to surveil it. So this is where we stand after 3 years in the pandemic. You know, sadly, we did have 17 residents pass away in our skilled nursing environments. Again, that was primarily that first winter of November and December. Likewise, 6 folks in personal care, and then 2 independent living residents. Lots of team member cases, but gratefully no one succumbed. So what's next? Vaccination. Just to know, if you have had the bivalent booster, you are considered up to date. Now, having said that, if you're over 65, you are authorized another dose of that booster if it's been 4 months or longer since your booster dose. But we are also expecting that there will be a newer formulation coming out late this summer, this fall, that's more specifically targeted to the latest variant. And we'll keep you posted. You know, we do have access to those vaccines through our pharmacy. So if you want to get vaccinated, we can order a single dose vial in, and you know, if I'm aware of it, I can get it for you. I can deliver it to your house if needed. Or you can go to the pharmacy and walk in. The vaccines are still readily available. My suggestion would be to wait for the newer formulation unless we start seeing cases rising again. But that, again, that's up to you entirely how you want to handle that. But we will be a resource, and we will keep you posted. And I think that's all I got.
All right, so I know we've had a long meeting, a lot of information, but any questions you have, we'll certainly be glad to respond to. We may have pushed you beyond the acceptable measures for the seating. Yeah, Rachel. Janelle's going to give you a mic just because we have people on.
I just wondered, what's going on with Elder Day? Are they still just open 3 days a week?
Yes. Yep, they're still open and they've responded some. So, you know, their population has begun to grow and they've met some preset targets. So we're really pleased there. Not there yet, but we may. Certainly it depends on where things and regulations change in that area during the pandemic. Yes, and we do need bodies, so.
Recruit.
Yes.
Have friends, church folk, anyone, you know, for Elder Day to be successful, we have to have people coming in the door. And we are nowhere near, having the ability to open 5 days a week.